Hey everybody, I'm Daryl Scott.
And I'm Gabe Casey.
Welcome to the automotive podcast that's traveled by train, plane, and automobile in recent weeks. On this episode of Throwing Wrenches podcast,
what's it like to travel by Tesla across Great Britain?
Can Daryl fit another classic in his stable?
Need a cranial implant? Elon Musk has one you can test drive.
All that and more coming up on Throwing Wrenches.
Here he comes.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and if you'd like to join the fun of the show, of course, you can always email us at info@throwingwrenches.com. I'll get it right one of these days. And, of course, it would break Eric's heart if you didn't leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts and share your love of this program with everyone around the world. Gabe, I want to just say a quick thank you for being on the show here and longtime co-host of the show. It's been a while.
Couple months. I appreciate it. Always fun. Thanks for having me back.
You bet. You bet. And quick note, too, we'll just get this out of the way at the beginning. The Stahl family, you can follow them at planetstahl.com. They are doing a great Western road trip across these United States, and we hope that they're having a great time there with the family. You can follow their adventures on Instagram, again, at planetstahl or planetstahl.com. We are thinking of all of them. And, you know, who wouldn't want to be riding in a really cool RV and seeing things like Devil's Tower in Wyoming?
Oh, yeah. That Mercedes is legit, and I've been keeping track of the pictures, and I'm a little jealous.
Yeah.
Although Eric gets up way too early in the morning for me.
Yeah, the 6 a.m. wake-up call.
Maybe.
You might. I always like what people decide to stop and eat at, like the restaurants. Like they had some place like called Ollie's or Ole's in Nebraska, and they're like, P.S. by the way, we thought the food would be better. So that's always a good, like diners, drive-ins, and dives. Always good to follow their recommendations of places to go and places to avoid.
Yeah, hopefully they're better than my family. One vacation we took, we tried to stop at, I think, every nation's Perkins. Because at least you know what you're going to get, Daryl. So
pretty standard.
Yeah, why not go to 13 states and 15 Perkins? Yeah. Well, if you don't know about Daryl and myself, we should just jump right into that. If you don't know my co-host, let me tell you about him. He's a daft punter who just ventured across the pond. He's no 007, but he can pull off a mean Sean Connery. He's a vision all the way from Europe. He's Daryl Scott.
Oh, why, thank you. Thank you. I do a Sean Connery impression, but I might not do it justice right now.
Oh, no, I meant you look like him with the beard and the hair and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smashing.
Of course. For those who don't know my co-host, in some countries they call large plots of land with a home an estate. Well, that's exactly what my co-host is building with his latest garage and workshop expansion, an estate. And that also is fitting since his new hobby is estate sales. He's the Baron of Bargains, the Lord of the Limited Time Offers. He's Mr. Gabe Casey.
Oh, thank you. See,
I gave you a title.
Mr. It is the Lord of Limited Time Offers.
You've got nobility. Yeah.
In what country?
I don't know, somewhere. I did see
Cheapstania?
I did see possibly the best name of a restaurant over when Sarah and I were in the UK. It was called Baron of Beef. And I'm like, that's a great name for a restaurant, but I kind of want that as a title.
Isn't that just like Beefeater, the alcohol?
Yeah, or like the Palace Guards or whatever.
Yeah, nice.
Good stuff. We'd also like to give a quick shout out to our longest sponsor of the show since day numero uno. A quick thank you to Forts Toyota of Pekin. They can be found at toyota-pekin.com. They're on beautiful Radio City Drive in North Pekin, 15 minutes from anywhere. New, used, service, whatever you need, they got your Toyota covered. They also have some used cars. They've got a really nice yellow C7 Corvette on the lot.
Yeah.
Maybe there's somebody who just hasn't found their summer ride yet, but they got a really nice, I think it's like a 2008 Corvette. Maybe take a look at it.
I shouldn't take a look. Somebody listening should take a look. I have enough cars.
The proverbial you.
Yes, okay. Because Corvettes I almost bought a Corvette about a decade ago because they have good resale value.
They do.
And they can get really good gas mileage in interstate. You might not think that. So you have a cool, fun car that you're not going to lose much money on, get good gas mileage. As long as you only need to transfer 2 people, you're good to go.
Yeah. Check them out, toyota-pekin.com. And, of course, they sell Toyotas, too. I did have a newer, I think, what is it, the GR Corolla, the hot hatch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a bright blue one, like that electric blue they have. Let's just say, got up and boogied on 474 on the way over here. And I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's one of those.
I haven't seen one yet. Was it like, did it sparkle in real life? Was
Yeah.
there like a halo from the sky? Like, did the clouds part and it's like the one GR Corolla in the whole county?
It is pretty slick. I don't know what the availability of that is. Hopefully they're
Zero.
coming.
It's actually zero.
Had, I mean, a nice stance to it. And
Yeah.
I did a double take for a minute because it had blacked out emblems and stuff. I think those things are pushing 300, around 300, just over 300 horse.
Yeah.
Out of a little, like 2-liter.
Things you'd never expect from a Corolla.
No.
Like, did you ever think, like, I was checking out a Corolla?
No, no, but of course I've seen some numbers. I'm like, you know what? For a daily, that'd be a fun little
Yeah,
pocket
they
rocket.
pump. They pump. It reminds me of the when Mazda did the Speed series. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
the Speed 3 and the Speed 6, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That Speed 3 was a bargain back in the day, but the problem was it wasn't a Toyota, so you didn't quite get the reliability and everything else with it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Unfortunately, but yeah, do check them out. They're good friends of ours, and we appreciate their support. Also, thank you to our Patreon supporters and our iTunes Premium supporters. Your support helps keep us motivated. We actually did do a fun pre-show where we talked about, go figure, movies again, and of course, cars.
Not that long. We did not talk that long
No,
about movies.
no.
We mainly just made fun of some actors.
We talked about the Hot Tub Time Machine movie.
No, I said never again.
Yeah, it's just terrible, terrible. But yeah, definitely check that out. And if you're considering becoming an iTunes Premium supporter, that's a nice little way to show some support, and really, it's pretty affordable too. So, anyways,
Every day is a great day to make a good decision.
it's true.
So start today.
That's true. Speaking of great decisions, you and I are both adding to our, let's just say, our project itineraries. Which
Yes.
It could be good, it could be horrible, but I think we've made some pretty good decisions so far. You are winning the race when it comes to setting up a future home for your projects.
I would like to think, but just because there's progress doesn't mean that anything's ever going to be completed, as we know, right? So, and
Best
I won't
intentions.
shame you, but how long have you been working on the Cadillac?
It's been a year and 3 months. So
And-
not horrible.
And I got my 27 Chrysler before you got the Cadillac.
Yeah.
And that's also not on the road.
I mean,
So just because we start on things and things get going, I don't have full faith and credit, like the United States government, that they're going to get done.
but it's
But-
an opportunity.
Yes.
Right? Opportunity
So,
for success. So what are you working on here on the home front? Because when I pulled up, I saw some stuff staked out. I saw some trenches. I saw some progress in a way that I'd never seen around here before. I'm talking like earth-moving equipment did
Yeah.
some damage. What's
Yeah,
going on
it's like
here?
World War One. We have trenches now.
It's trench warfare.
I'm gonna get some water balloons, get the kids in there later. No, so last year we started planning out a garage expansion because we really love the home, we really love the town. You know, great neighborhood, good school district, pretty much everything we could want in a property. And when I had my house requirements back in the day that I was like, I have to have a 3-car garage. Like, I can't do it with the 2-car garage.
Sure.
Daryl, how much room does a 3-car garage get you?
The first year, you feel like you're like a king. You're like, I've got so much room. This is great. And then you realize that you have space and you can put more stuff in it.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes like your 2-car garage, overcrowded, full of stuff, and there's no room to walk.
Yeah, I'm lucky if I can get 2 cars in my 3-car garage because I also I have kids on top of it where I've got like
Oh, yeah.
kids' toys and
Bicycles.
big wheels,
Yeah.
sports equipment. So, no, so my wife and I made the lovely decision. Thank goodness for lovely Rachel as well, of course, to do a gigantic garage addition and there'll be potentially some indoor space above it down the road if we ever get it finished.
You say gigantic. I mean, obviously this is audio, so you can't do like a visual PowerPoint slide deck.
Yeah.
But you decided to go deep with it because you're in a residential area. You got a 3-car garage. The third stall is kind of tacked onto the side of the house.
Yeah,
right?
it's like isolated.
Yeah. So your MO is to go kind of deeper into the backyard area and kind of build it out that way.
Right. So they're demoing most of the third stall and then building out from there. And we have a good width lot. So they're going to the side about 13 feet. I think that's a good stall width, right?
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
wide is a garage stall? I don't even know.
Like a 2-car is usually what, 24?
So about
20?
12 foot.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit more than one extra stall on the side, which I figured, good if you put in cabinetry. We're gonna go a little further, but then the houses would look like they're so close together. So I got a little pushback on that. So we're gonna go out, and then we're gonna go back another like 2.5 stalls. So I'm gonna turn something like 200 something foot third stall into around, I think rough estimate, around 1,400 square foot.
So that's a great size garage.
If I don't instantly fill it with garbage, yes.
You won't. But here's the thing. What that'll allow you guys to do is free up some utility room space, right?
Yeah.
You're going to move, you're going to have like a little bonus room, like I hate to use the word man cave, but it is like a bonus room you could use to, I don't know, chill out, have some phones.
Are you talking about the garage or above it?
Above it.
Above it, the long term is I want to put in a theater room where kids can play games and do theater and get all my technology out of the basement. I don't like hanging out in the basement. We can record here.
Oh, there you go.
For now. And then I also want to do just a bedroom and a bathroom. But the bedroom I'll just set up as like gaming and studio and recording and all the other stuff because it'll be nice up there, isolated from the rest of the house. Everyone can go to bed. You know, they can make noise. The dog can bark, which you may hear if you listen to the pre-show. But again, that would be quite long term because we can't afford to have anything finished out. I'm literally just buying a floor and the shell. So it's going to be like the exterior and the studs, and that's it.
That's fine, though, because where else are you going to be able to do something of that nature? You're going to be getting workshop space, more storage for, the daily drivers for the winter. And, here in the Midwest, that's important. You want to have shelter. You want to have, if the kids need to get into a car and go to school in the morning, like you're not scraping ice off the windshields.
It's the worst. Yeah. I've scraped plenty of ice in my day. And it's sad when I already have a 3-car garage and we're parking 2 cars or more in the driveway on a regular basis. So hopefully the neighborhood will appreciate it too.
Yeah. So no, that's going to be awesome. What are some of your goals as far as like how you want to outfit the space? I mean, I know everybody, when you start talking, I'm building this big garage, I'm going to have a lift, I'm going to have this. Like, realistically, what are your thoughts as to kind of how you want to lay the space out?
I don't have the ceiling height for a lift. I might just get one of those floor lifts to give you a couple feet, which would be nice for, just doing all the tires and things like that at one time, having a little more stability to work on a car. But no, I think I'll have some storage space. I'll have some hangout space and some shop space. Probably just drywalling most of it. I thought about maybe doing some tin on the walls and a portion of it, maybe doing it in like different segments. Because as we both know, hanging and finishing drywall is a lot of fun. And why wouldn't I want to do it down 58 feet of wall and ceiling?
That sounds amazing.
No.
For those who don't know, Gabe actually did help get my wife and I started with hanging drywall in our house and getting ceilings because I hate that. And I have one of those drywall lifts. Yeah. I've got one of those, ceiling, and that makes life easy, but it still stinks, right? Yeah. It's still not a fun job. So if you need to borrow that, let me know.
I'm going to need it.
If you need some...
You better get on your basement so I can get that over here.
I know. I need to finish that one.
You've got 7 weeks.
Okay.
They claim about 8 weeks, so we're now a week in, and I don't know if it's a true week, but we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Well, I wish you guys luck. That is going to be amazing. So not only do you have the Garage Mahal project, or what are you calling it? Your Fortress of Gabe-itude?
I mean, I was just spitballing on the dock, and I was like, well, what'd Superman have? Well, he doesn't have any cars, so
no, he should. He just lifted cars up, like in that movie or the cartoon.
I thought about Car-itude, and I was like, whatever. Just put my name in there.
I like Fortress of Gabe-itude. You also have a couple new bike projects, which you're a BMW motorcycle aficionado. You got
I
a couple.
am now. Yeah. Within the last year. Yeah. Before that, I never had one.
You've got a really nice, probably, I dare I say, and I've seen a couple in museum collections and stuff like that. You have probably the world's nicest 55 R50 BMW motorcycle that I've ever seen.
Well, thank you. And it's got to be up there. I don't know if it's the nicest, but I did really appreciate when you were like, hey, Gabe, look at this R50 in this museum in England. Yours is nicer. And I thought, do I not drive mine anymore? Like, can I even, do I have to put it up for future generations? Because it's going downhill, right?
It's beautiful, but it's also one of those things that sees the light of day. So you ride it, you enjoy it, you take good care of it, but then you tuck it in at night and read it bedtime stories. But you also have a 71
for right now. So Here, let's throw back. So Daryl and I were recently at Jake Irish's Memorial Day cookout, which if you haven't got invited to that before, you need to start sucking up to Jake Irish or his wife Amber.
Get an invite.
Yeah, it is a lovely time.
Yeah.
They have amazing burgers. You can have some mini Coronas. They make your hands look huge, like you're a giant. It was a good time. And we had some extra new faces there this year, and that was nice. But last year when we were there, that's when Daryl and I plotted to buy this 71 BMW with a sidecar.
Was it there?
It was there. I pinged the guy while we were there. We found it on Facebook Marketplace. We talked about it the whole time. And then like 2 days later, Daryl and I went up and bought this car or this bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is that was over a year ago right now. We planned it, right? So coming up on a year when I bought it, I still don't have a title.
Oof.
And there's, at this point, I think about a 0% chance I get one.
Okay.
So and I've asked the guy for money back in the past, basically like, hey, by this date, give me a title or give me my money back and you can come get the bike, or give me this much and I'll keep it for parts, because I can't legally title it, right?
Yeah.
And I toot it around town here and there, but I'm just waiting to get pulled over and to see if the cop buys. Well, hey, the guy never gave me the title and I'm waiting. And you got to run stuff too. You can't let it sit for a year and everything else. So that might actually be coming up. But I do have the 71 BMW right now, which is one of the reasons that I bought. So I went to an auction in Two Rivers, Wisconsin. And this older gentleman passed away, rest his heart. His name was Zell White. I never met Mr. White, but he had multiple properties and over 100 motorcycles and over 20 cars they sold at this auction.
Wow.
And I was up there for the preview, and local people were coming in. They're like, I didn't know Zell had all this stuff. And you're like, yeah, he had it all over, and they consolidated it all into this one building. So I had my eye on a bunch of things. I went up there with my dad. We took a giant enclosed trailer on his dually, made a little night of it. It's kind of pretty up there on the bay. And then the auction prices were insane.
Really? It got out of hand?
Like, you know me, I like a deal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay retail for most stuff, like
Sure.
almost anything. And they had all these ladies that were managing like 5 different websites. They had phone-in bids. It was way too much. I've never seen anything like it. So I had my eye on like a bunch of stuff going in, and then most of it just washed away. But I did manage to bid on one thing I had planned on bidding on, which was a 1986 Ural, which is basically a BMW knockoff from Russia. And then it had the sidecar on it, and it only had 88 kilometers on it.
So really untouched, kind of nice preserved original.
In a lot of ways, yeah. I mean, it's been sitting, so it's had some deterioration. It needed tires right away, and some other stuff I've noticed needs cleaned up. But the sidecar was immaculate.
Yeah.
And it didn't cost a whole lot of money. So I thought, I'm going to get this, and I want to see if the kids like it more than the BMW. And also, I know the BMW might be going away. And I want to keep a motorcycle with a sidecar for the kids, because I can't take them on my 55. It's a solo seat. I want to be able to, have fun with my kids. It's part of my hobby. It's not just about me. It's about the family.
Absolutely. I give you a lot of credit for that, because it is, it's one thing that, and I was lucky enough, my dad growing up, the old car hobby was something that he was into, but also because the family could take road trips in it. We could go out, get ice cream, or we could take an overnight trip to South Bend or something like that. Like, it was just one of those things that was accessible to everybody in the family. And the more you get the kids hooked, then you have a little buddy, maybe Roman or maybe Harper in a couple of years, be like, hey, I'm really into this too. And then you have a partner that you can do stuff with.
Yeah, and then I can talk mom into buying more.
Right. Oh, this is for the kids.
Yeah, it's for Harper. She's 9 now. No, but honestly, they do love it. Like, their faces light up when I pick them up in the sidecar, from school and stuff. Like, ooh, it's fun, because what kid gets to ride home from school in a sidecar on occasion?
Only the Casey kids.
Literally in town, only the Casey kids. Yeah. So maybe your city's different, but I've been online on RussianGarage.com, like trying to make a shopping list.
Russian Garage.
And wondering if I'm going to get put on an FBI hit list. Because
oh, you're already on a list, my friend. Don't worry about it. You're on the list. They just put a check after your name.
Should we tell that story?
What?
Have you ever heard my FBI car story, Daryl?
No.
Okay. Let's pump the brakes for a minute.
All right, let's talk about this. You're seriously...
Yeah, so
okay.
I'm in college. I'm going to ISU at the time. And I eBay bid on a Firebird or Trans Am. I can't remember which one it was. And I didn't win the bid, but then I got like second. And then the guy like pinged me later. He's like, hey, do you want to still buy this? But it looked shady, so I didn't buy it. And then like a couple weeks later, I'm at school. I'm doing late night school one night there. And I get a call, and it's literally the FBI. And
What?
yeah, the creepy thing is that the date at that time was 9/11 that they were calling me on, and I was like, the FBI is calling me on September 11th. Like, this
Yeah.
is really weird. And it was after obviously September 11th, 5 or so years. And so the guy calls. He's like, I'm with the FBI. Like, please go Google me, look me up. You can find me on the FBI webpage, and then give me a call back. Here's my number, because they don't want to just be like, hey, I'm with the FBI and blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
Legit, this guy that I bid on this car with is like suspected in killing people off the coast of Florida on this boat and all this other stuff. And they're like tracking his phone
What?
records. And I had like a call with them about this car, about this trade sale. And the FBI legit called me when I was in college. It was so weird.
So the bottom line, okay, I have so many questions right now. Did he actually have a car?
I think he had the car, but I don't know.
It was just like he happened to be a killer who also was selling some stuff.
Potentially. Or maybe I was the next victim. Maybe I bring the cash for the car and it's his
Just
getaway
whacks you
money. So my bad feeling in my stomach paid off.
Yeah.
Be careful on eBay.
There is a lot. There is something to be said for that, right? Things that your parents always said, like something doesn't feel right. Tell an adult. And then when you're an adult, you're like, well, who do I tell now, right? Like, just something isn't right.
Right.
And you just walk away. You just abandon it. That's scary.
Isn't that crazy? I can't believe that's never come up before.
No, I never
Yeah.
heard that.
Yeah, good times.
Huh.
But anyways, this wasn't like that. This wasn't an FBI bike, but it'll be good. They'll be fun.
What's the website? RussianGarage.com.
RussianGarage.com. Yeah. So they have actual old Ural parts from Russia, and they'll ship them here. I didn't get the tires there because the shipping on that was a lot, and then I've
Yeah.
got to put together the list. But I'm going to get like oil filters, maybe a carb rebuild kit. The carb rebuild kit's like $30 for both carbs.
Cheap.
So I just felt like maybe I'd get it. But with 88 kilometers on it, I don't know if we could clean it or if it really needs seals. But for sitting, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the worst things that can happen is just stuff to sit. But the good news is usually it's just all the seals, any kind of rubber, paper, cork.
Yeah.
You just go through that and put it back as you found it. And usually you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
So, congratulations. That's going to be a fun ride. I really like that. The Ural I've never seen. I've seen a couple in town, like riding around, newer ones. The thing that I noticed the most is that it's so overbuilt, beefy, heavy. Like just moving that thing around, it's a tank.
Yeah, it's a metal sidecar.
Yeah.
So the BMW has a fiberglass sidecar, much lighter.
Yeah, way easier to maneuver. So it might be fun to ride.
Yeah. So the current project list, let's count. We have a 27 Chrysler I got to fix.
Uh-huh.
We have a 66 Coney I need to fix, mini truck. Now the Ural and the Moto Guzzi.
And the Moto
So
Guzzi.
4 projects?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a healthy number, but I feel
That's
like
actually not healthy.
I feel like 2 of those are probably close to running.
Yes.
and driving pretty
Yeah.
quick.
The Chrysler and the Guzzi are pretty close.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The other 2, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll get
How
there.
are you doing on the projects list, Daryl? Like, how many do you have in the stable there?
Jeez. Well, if we have to throw numbers around, I'm still. The 55 Cadillac Fleetwood is still not operational at this point. At this
Okay.
juncture, it needs a little bit more work.
What's it need? Let's knock it out.
Well, the fuel system and the brake system. That's really about it.
You don't need fuel and brakes.
One maybe not so much, but no, we'll get there. I've got all the pieces. I just need to put the motor back together, put the cooling system back in, and then just finish going through the brakes and fuel. Drop the tank. Here's the other thing too. The tank's got some old nasty varnished gas in it, and I'm at the point where I'm like, I really just need to get rid of it. And thankfully, Lens Oil Service here in Peoria will take used fuel.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know what they do with it. I mean, maybe they turn it into.
Don't you just have like a little dip next to your house?
I do. I do have a ravine.
Yeah.
But there's something about you get calls from the FBI. I don't want to get calls from the EPA.
Oh, you're not commercial. They're not testing that.
Yeah, they're probably fine.
If your neighbors don't turn green, you'll be all right.
I might kill some weeds with it, but no, I'll dispose of it properly.
Okay.
But no, I need to go through that fuel tank and pump and go through the carb and all that. Originally, I thought I would have the thing running for a July parade that our club is involved with in
This
West
year?
Peoria. Yeah, and my wife reminded me. She's like, "That's what we talked about. Like that was the goal to get it running for that parade because that's where the car came from." You told the mayor of West Peoria that where we bought the car from. We actually bought it from the city.
You told the mayor that?
Told the mayor at some point like I would be back and have it in the parade. He's like, "Oh, I'd love to see that." Blah blah blah. And well, I didn't tell him when. So whatever,
okay.
it's fine. It's been
So it could be in like 10 years, and be like, "Hey, look, mayor," and he's like, "I'm not even the mayor anymore."
yeah.
What are you
He's,
doing? Who are you?
He'll be the mayor forever. But no, so we'll get there. But so that's my one project, and I don't want to deviate from the attention that deserves.
So you haven't. You've just been diligent, and all the garage project time you've spent has been on the caddy, right?
No, that's not correct. Actually, what happened was shortly before my wife and I ventured across the pond for our UK adventure on May 6th. I'll just say, I'll shorten this up, and I'll just say we were lucky enough to have the opportunity to acquire another vehicle that needed a little bit of TLC. And that happened to be from our good friend, Mr. Mike Fort, who owned a very nice original 1970 Plymouth Fury 3 convertible. And amongst all the others in his collection, this is one that we've talked about for many years. And, I was interested in it. Just didn't really, the stars didn't align. And also didn't,
Meaning you never had room for it and always had a project?
Pretty much. And then when I freed myself up, I'm like, oh, I got another project. So, but the stars did align finally, and they aligned about 2 days before we left the country.
Yeah.
I like to consider ourselves as like a foster home, for cars that like need to be brought up to that next level. Need a little care, and that's what we're doing with this one. So this is a Fury 3. It was built here in Illinois, December 3rd of 1969, in the Belvedere Assembly Plant, which just actually got closed here this year. Sand pebble beige with a dark green vinyl interior.
It's an interesting combo.
Weird color combo.
Yeah.
Weird. But again, if you look at the era, earth tones, early 70s, kind of like the Brady Bunch family. I'm sure they had those kind of colors in their house. But this is a really neat car, 318 two-barrel 904 automatic. So kind of a, your basic mid-size V8, nothing fancy. You can get all the way up to like a 383 or a 440 in there, but the 318 was the responsible choice. It's got factory air conditioning, AM radio, the light decor package. It's got some nice options on it.
And it's a convertible.
It's a convertible.
Yeah.
One of 1900 made. It's a pretty rare car.
Yeah.
It's the last full-size convertible that Plymouth ever made. And really just, I think, a very special car. So my wife and I are honored to be the caregivers of this thing. Gabe, thank you for coming over. I think that first night or second night, whenever it was.
I just came over to hang out and whatever else. So you're welcome.
It was cool because you actually hooked up. We got the pressure washer going, got some crud blasted off of that thing, got the interior cleaned up.
Yeah, Sarah was scrubbing hard. She was like, I don't want to deal with this. And she just goes to town. She did some good work.
She did.
Yeah.
She's used to it. So she's highly recommend the Amazon Basics enzyme cleaner that you can get on Amazon. It's like $25 a gallon. It'll take care of mold, weird stuff, interior stains. It'll take care of whatever. And that did a really good job. So bottom line where that sits today is I've almost got the thing running. It's been sitting for quite a good many years. Needs the fuel system gone through, obviously. Went through the ignition, cleaned up the points, actually replaced the points because that didn't work. Coil, voltage regulator, battery, all that other fun stuff. And I got a fuel pump I'm going to throw in it. And I think I'm going to have the thing running once I clean the tank out. I think that will be running by July.
So that's the real question. What deserves to run first?
I think the Plymouth, because the Fury actually, and my wife's on my case. She's like, why are you starting something else? You did not need to do that. But I didn't want to just let it sit. I think this is closer to running and being drivable than the Cadillac, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you can still go into O'Reilly's and get a fuel pump for a 70 Fury with 318. You can. You can.
Is that difficult to do?
In this case, the one in Peoria Heights had one in stock. It was $37.
There you go.
The fuel pump for the Cadillac, if I were to get a rebuilt one, it's about $300.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Or I could rebuild the original myself and take.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. Like, I'm looking forward to the summer, but also it's cool to have a convertible again. Something that
It is, and you're going to make me miss mine. So if I'll help you get it running, maybe I can steal it every once in a while. Take the kids out.
We can motivate each other. Yeah, we can. Well, because you got a cool roadster too, so we'll get there. But that's what I got going on project-wise. I wish I had a cool garage build, but I can live vicariously through you.
Well, here's what I think. I think I get this done, and you finish your 2 projects, and I finish my 4.
Yeah.
So, give us a couple months, like 3-4 months.
Yeah. 6 years. That'd be
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. Don't worry about it. Roman will be out of college. And but, we should pick up some cool cars or get some other donations and, make them nice and find them nice new homes.
I would be fine with that.
Like a rehoming service.
Yeah.
But the problem is Daryl is the classic, dog foster parent where they fall in love with the dog and then the dog never gets rehomed.
Yeah, but
Because you said you're fostering this fury, but
Yeah.
that thing's not going anywhere.
No,
people.
it's
don't
not.
don't
No.
take that way.
Not at all. The funny thing about that, though, too, is it always starts with good intentions, but those are also the same people that get animal control called on them because they have 58 dogs.
So instead
You
of
know?
58 dogs, you can be like, sir, you have 37 cars parked on this property. You got to go. You can't take care of all of them. They're leaking oil. They're suffering. You're like, I love them.
I love them so much. And then, yeah, the end result is me getting thrown into a van, getting taken to some sort of other place. But anyways, I look forward to your garage updates, my friend.
Yeah,
Real.
so we don't have it on the dock. I think you neglected it a little too much.
I did.
We cut a lot of news because Daryl went on an epic venture. We had a lot of projects. I haven't been on the show in a while. And then Daryl went on his trip. So Derek is Daryl and Eric together.
Yeah, that's
And
our
I suffer with that a little
that's
sometimes.
our combination.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Like if you were dating,
if we were, yeah,
like
if
you were
we
a Hollywood couple, you'd be Derek.
Derek. Actually, it is a good combination.
Yeah.
We probably would level each other out.
Yeah. But no, you went to Great Britain and you at least saw a lot of amazing car stuff. And maybe we could touch on a little bit of that instead of some local and national news.
Yeah, so my wife and I went over to visit her brother and his husband. They both live over in the UK in the Cambridge area. And we actually, Sarah's been over before. I'd never been outside the country because I'm...
Never outside the country.
I mean, Canada, but that
you
really
didn't go to Canada to smoke weed in the 80s.
No. My aunt and uncle and family and stuff lived up in Canada. Actually, my aunt still does. Cousins, but that's back in the day where you didn't need a passport. You could just hey, I'm going to Canada. And they're like, okay.
So it's just like the U.S.
Yeah, it's fine. But no, so I never had a passport and stuff like that. So my wife really is obsessed, and her brother too, obsessed with Eurovision. All right. Eurovision Song Contest is a huge thing. If you Google it, you probably can read more than...
come up with a Will Ferrell movie.
Oh, yeah. And there is a great Will Ferrell and, oh my gosh, Rachel McAdams movie that's actually worth watching. It's kind of funny. But anyways, that did take place in Liverpool this year. It was supposed to be Ukraine. Obviously, Ukraine had some stuff.
Yeah, they were
going on.
busy.
So the folks in the UK said, hey, we'll help you out. So they actually said, we'll host it in Liverpool this year. So we went on the premise that we would get some tickets to see some performances there in Liverpool and enjoy the contest there. But then also, my brother-in-law and Archie, Phil and Archie, they decided, hey, while you guys are over here, because you haven't been here in a while, or you haven't been here at all, Daryl, we're going to jam-pack this whole trip full of incredibly cool stuff in the hopes that we'll get you to come back more and more. I mean...
They worked you like dogs. That almost wasn't a vacation. He went to so much stuff, and there were so many pictures posted every day. I was tired.
It was cool. It was cool because... And it's not I don't know. We're at a different point in our life and careers where we can take the time and we have a little bit of money. We can actually go do it. I felt bad though because it should have been going over there much more often. And it's just one of those hang-ups that I think I had in my head, oh, international travel, and I don't know. There's this weird hump that you have to get over. At least I did, where I'm oh, I've never left the country. What happens if this and that? What happens if I don't know, fall and chip a tooth or whatever? Who cares?
You get super glue.
You just do your thing. Yeah, just do what my dad just super glued. But long story short, they planned some great stuff, and of course, Archie knew that and he is a petrolhead as well. Had some really cool cars over the years and some great stories. And he said, hey, I've got some ideas of places you might want to check out when you're here. Obviously you're doing some Eurovision stuff. You're doing some, we're doing some concerts at Royal Albert Hall. We're going to see some theater, kind of highbrow stuff. Let's do some car stuff while you're here too. So he booked a trip to the Bewley, which is a estate that also happens to have a wonderful private auto museum there, and that is out in the what they call the New Forest, which is on the outskirts of, like, Henry VIII used to, like, it was a deer hunting playground. And it's kind of out to the, I guess, southeast. I'm probably getting this wrong, and apologies if you're listening, Archie. But it is a beautiful part of the UK where it's just incredible forest, deer everywhere, wild ponies running everywhere. I mean, just a really unique place.
You saw wild ponies?
Wild ponies. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. We stayed at a pub in a town where, like, if you looked out the window, there's just, like, wild horses running around. It was
That's
just like,
so weird.
It's ponies. Yeah, it was weird. But anyways, and I could go on and on about that. But bottom line is, the Bewley Motor Museum, it was absolutely insane because they have this wonderful collection of stuff from, like, the 1880s all the way until modern times. I'm talking, like, steam-powered cars. I'm talking, like, historic Rolls Royces.
Something old enough to blow up in Jay Leno's face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They have 2 Chitty Chitty Bang Bang cars from the movie with Dick Van Dyke.
Oh, wow.
A Mercedes Gullwing, Porsche 917 from the Le Mans era. You name it, they had it. And it was just like hundreds and hundreds of things. And plus an active restoration guild that is taking stuff apart, and old land speed record cars, and just like every nut and bolt beautifully restored, and they all run and drive. So that was the thing.
Wow.
Checking that out, like the stuff from like 1908, people would take that from the museum and run that in like competitive events or like tours or things like the London to Brighton run, and they would do that like on an annual basis. That's what I appreciated about there. We also went to the British Motor Museum, which is actually a whole separate one, and that's up. I'm going to get this wrong. I could look it up. It's close to where they make Jaguars and Land Rovers. It's a big factory there. And same thing, another separate museum that has got, I think, 300 to 600 cars in their collection, including the Jaguar National Trust sponsored exhibit, which has stuff. I didn't know Jaguar started as a motorcycle company.
Oh.
So they started making, I believe it was called Swan motorcycles, and then they kind of evolved into making automobiles when, that was fashionable.
Weren't they kind of ugly motorcycles, though?
They're different. They're a little more ornate.
Yeah.
Not
a little Jaguar-y, I guess.
Yeah. So when you look at that versus like mid-teens, 20s, and then you look at like a Harley Davidson, yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah.
But the car collection there, especially the Jaguars, and anything British, is just really neat. When you walk in, you pay the admission, you go through the lobby, and there's like an old Land Rover and a Rolls and stuff sitting out there. We walked through the whole museum. Again, 200 on one level, another 100 up top, and then another separate outbuilding with another 200 that they're either restoring or working on. Incredible. It just goes on and on. I mean, like talking Morrises, Morgans, Rolls, Bentleys, Sunbeams, you name it. Anything British that's neat to us because we just don't see them as Americans.
Yeah.
Even if you weren't a huge gearhead, you kind of got an idea of what the British auto industry was like throughout the years. We're walking through. We finish the museum and we come out, and Archie's like, hey, look at this placard. He's like, this is the first pre-production Land Rover ever built. And it's just sitting in the lobby, like you walk past it like it's no big deal. And it's like, this is the first one they did in like 1946 or 7 or whatever it was. And it was like, from here, that's what evolved into the Land Rovers and stuff of today.
Huh.
And what was neat is that a lot of these things were bought back by the company. So like Land Rover found their original one and then bought it back and fully restored it, and it's on display at the museum.
That's what I was going to say. Like, do any of these car companies nowadays, like, did Rivian keep the first truck they make and just put it in the lobby?
Yeah, you almost wonder, right?
Yeah. Like, did they have the foresight now? Because obviously back in the day, you're just trying to get stuff off the market or get it out of the assembly line on the market and sell it and make a dime.
Right. Yeah, there's nobody who's looking at the company's historical long-term, like...
Yeah, on year one.
Yeah. Or like Tesla.
We're going to look back and regret selling that first vehicle, guys. Like, no. You're fired. Get out of here.
Right. So no, it was a wonderful trip, and I could go on and on for days. But the other fun part about that for us was that we took all these little day trips from where they were at in Cambridge. Went to London, went to Liverpool, went to this and that. And Liverpool obviously was a couple hours, so we stayed overnight. But every trip that we did was they have a Tesla Model S. And it was neat for us to see, first of all, being the first trip that we ever took, long distance trips in an EV, and I said like about 1,200 miles or so. So we really got to see kind of the viability of taking a long journey in an EV. And then over there, the charging network and using the Tesla to plan out the trips and your charging stops, and it figured out the time and how many bays were available. It was such a new experience for me. The car does all the work. So all the things you hear about in the States, like range anxiety and figuring out like, oh, I'd have to stop every 2 hours or whatever, the car figures that out for you.
But is the car controlling you? Is this the new AI, Daryl? Did it just take your freedom? Because it said, it'd be real convenient if you stopped here, Daryl, because that fits in with your charging pattern.
Right. Yeah.
Huh?
Well, there's something to that, but compared to how my wife and I travel here in the States with her Toyota Highlander, like when we're driving to Florida.
You mean complete freedom, and you could stop at any gas station you want to fill up?
Well, yeah, it's not only the gas station; it's mostly like the bathroom stuff. It's like I gotta go because we're old, Gabe.
Yeah.
We're old.
Yeah, super old.
But that was one of those things that was unique to me. Though, is whenever we did stop, it was right around the time, I'd say about 120-ish, 150 miles. That's right around the time you want to stop and stretch and get out. And even before that, you probably make a coffee stop or something like that. There, at no point in time did we spend more than, I'd say, 25, 30 minutes at a supercharger, and it got us enough to carry on with our journey.
Okay.
And then also get us to our destination without being stranded there too. So you'd have enough in the battery to continue your journey the next day or a couple days. So it's interesting. There's a little logistics that kind of go into the planning, and driving your Rivian, your friend's Rivian around, you probably recognize some of that too, right? Like you were taking a long distance trip with it.
Oh, I had no charging options. So they had a wall plug. So he has a wall plug he put in it. So anywhere I went, like I could have plugged it in if it was an emergency or whatever else. But that would have been like the slowest charge in the world on 110.
It would have taken forever.
Yeah, but it would have at least got you to where you need to get to go.
So the Tesla stuff, you could actually charge other non-Tesla vehicles with the charger.
Yeah, if they've got the compatibility or the adapter now.
The adapter. But that's also creating some instances where people are blocking some of the charging ports because Tesla's all back into the charger.
Okay.
And all those superchargers and stuff that they have, they back in and they charge in the back of the car, the port. Things like the Rivian and others, I think they're closer to the front.
Yeah,
right?
It's in the front driver's side on the Rivian.
So a lot of the cords either aren't long enough, or there's like a weird thing where they have to like straddle like two spots. So then the Tesla folks pull in, they're like, what the heck? Didn't see any of that.
Let's not upset the Tesla folks.
I know.
I mean, come on.
Heaven forbid.
Yes.
I didn't see any of that. There were no like fisticuffs or anything over at the superchargers.
You saw two guys roll up their sleeves and shave their heads and go bully, and they fought with their EVs.
Old timey. No. Honestly, the only thing that I did notice when we were in Portsmouth, we stopped at Portsmouth and we were going through the old shipyards there, dockyards. There was a parking garage that said, "Oh, EV charging available," and it's one of those where you hook up the credit card, and I think it was a BP provided charging station, which is interesting to see. Petroleum.
Was it a GBP?
Chat GPT.
Great Britain Petroleum, or just British Petroleum?
Just British Petroleum.
Okay.
Just petroleum.
They just call it P over there.
Yeah. No, so it was a charging port that was in a parking deck, and I'm like, oh, well, we're here seeing the sites. We'll just go ahead and let it charge. Well, of course, the standardization is different. Obviously, if you're using Tesla stuff, super easy. And I'm sure others are a little bit better than this one. This one sucked because you had to download an app, and then you had to put a card on and set up an account and all that. And whatever the amperage was for this charger, it didn't do anything. I mean, it was one of those like
it charged you money.
It charges money, but it was just weak sauce.
Yeah.
So the only issue that I saw driving an EV through good parts of Great Britain, again, about 1,200 miles we put on, never really felt like it was different than a gas powered road trip, right? Except for that, where it's like I just had this thing on this crummy charger for 4 hours and it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it might have just been how that was set up or how that particular parking garage, maybe they didn't have the electrical service to power it. But I'm like, well, that sucks if that's what you're counting on. But then there's other places like you have to keep your eyes open and make plans accordingly. But honestly, it was really easy and convenient. And EVs over there are everywhere. The one thing that was a big kind of eye-opener for me is the amount of diesel vehicles that are still popular in the UK.
Oh, all of Europe, I think.
Yeah.
And basically the rest of the world but the United States, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I mean, even little tiny sedans. I mean, it's not just the delivery vans and trucks and stuff. Like, a good chunk of cars over there are still diesel. But I think that those days are numbered as well, just because of the different, I don't know, emissions regulations, tariffs, additional fees and stuff.
So the government
Maybe.
Everything you just listed was not like a real reason for something to be discontinued.
Well, the other thing is just adding all the extra stuff, the DEF fluid, they call it something else over there. It's called something else, but like,
Yeah.
uric acid or whatever. But the thing of it is I think EVs over there make sense in so many instances because of the types of commutes and the infrastructure.
Sure.
I keep getting back to infrastructure, where there were Tesla charging ports all over most of the major motorways, in a lot of the bigger cities. It was accessible. And here in the States, I'm like, well, we got the one here in Peoria and there's one in Bloomington. But if you're doing a 60-mile commute both ways, I don't know.
Well, and that was going to be my question. So you were over there 2 weeks, but let's call a day on each end travel. So
Yeah.
12 days?
Yeah.
And you took a 1,200-mile trip.
Yeah.
So it was really only averaged 100 miles a day in the Tesla.
About that.
Do you think you could reasonably do that around here with the charging station set up, or do you think you'd be sunk?
I think you could do 100 miles. I think it'd be fine. The like where my folks live and where Sarah's family, St. Louis and Chicago area. I don't have the mileage offhand, but it's a little bit more than 100. That's where you get into that point where like you'd probably have to plan accordingly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 100 miles, I think you probably wouldn't have any trouble at all. And the Model S is nice because it's a bigger battery pack, and it's a little bit more of a touring car, so you actually get probably more range than like your Nissan Leafs or some of your other vehicles.
Something terrible like a Nissan Leaf.
Although I did see tons of those over there.
And were they terrible?
No, actually they look pretty good style wise.
How? What did they do to them?
I
Did
don't
they
know.
cover them with the shell of another car somehow?
It looked very Honda-like, I will say that. The newer generation. That was the other fun part too, is like being a car guy, is like spotting. This is a Vauxhall something, but we call it a Buick whatever here.
Right. It's just rebadged, but it's basically our car.
Right.
Yeah.
And Focuses, like tons of. The biggest car, the car that I saw the most over there, that I'm like, why don't we see as many here? Volkswagens were everywhere.
Yes.
BWs
So I sent you
everywhere.
links. So Daryl's over in England. What do? I get on the used car in England website and start looking at cars over there. And I'm like, Daryl, go look at this. Daryl, go look at that. He's like, I'm on vacation. Like, leave me alone. And a bunch of them were really awesome Volkswagens. They have a ton over there. You're right.
Yeah, even pickups. There's a
Yeah.
Volkswagen and a Mercedes pickup that kind of looks like a Honda Ridgeline, and I don't remember what they're called, but they're
Kind of looks like a baby that if it was born like 200 years ago, they'd throw it off a cliff. Rather than save it and coddle it and love it.
not the most visually attractive.
Did it look terrible?
I
Because I've seen a Honda Ridgeline.
I got to be honest, like the VW one, I was like, I might look at one of those if they were available here, because it's that sweet spot.
That
where
just sounds like a relationship inconvenience. Like, she lives across the hall. I mean, I know it's a Volkswagen pickup, but I'll give it a shot.
I'll give it a go. No, the thing, it's that sweet spot where it's not the giant like F-150 on steroids, giant truck that you can't park in a parking lot, but everyone needs a truck in the States, so you're gonna have.
Says the guy who has a full-size Tundra. Go on.
Tundra, yeah, it's terrible. No, I love it, but it's also not the smaller. It's that sweet spot, that mid-sized truck, and that's why I think the Ridgeline. I think the Ridgeline's cool too, because it's the mid-size that you can still drive and do stuff, but also park it in the grocery store.
But the Ridgeline isn't on a truck chassis, right?
No, I think it's on a Pilot, like a Honda Pilot SUV chassis.
So that's just bad, right?
I mean,
It's kind of like the Avalanche. Like, that was not a good truck because it wasn't a truck. So I think the problem we have here is they don't make a mid-sized truck. They make things that look like a truck and they call a truck that are mid-sized.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they don't hold the resale value. They don't get the job done. And I would never buy one.
I think that's fair. That's fair. I just wonder how the rest of the world's able to function without having, a giant 6,000-pound.
Communism.
Is that what it is? Because I look
they don't have the need for it, though. Again, like, look at their socioeconomic statuses, how people live. Like, because what do all the farmers have over in England? They have Land Rovers.
Yeah.
And they use them as vehicles, and they use them as tractors sometimes. They could have a PTO on it. They could haul stuff around the farm, and it's multi-use. You know what they don't have? A Ridgeline or a VW truck.
Yeah,
Why?
that's true.
Because they can't get anything done with it. So the point is that they've figured out the vehicles that work for their socioeconomic and their country setup and everything else they need. And then we just have too much over here, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
And we have too much of just, we're going to sell stuff. But over there, they don't have time for all that for the most part.
It was an eye-opening experience, and I would love to go back. I'm sure we will go back, and we'll watch airfare and try to get some bargains. But truly appreciate Phil and Archie's generosity and just being able to take us and carry us throughout the UK and just give us that great experience. Because everyone says, hey, when you went over there, did you drive? Did you rent a car? No, I wanted nothing to do with driving.
You didn't even want to try the Tesla.
No.
Have you ever driven a Tesla?
No, I've never driven a Tesla.
Well, it would have been an experience on multiple levels. Then you get to drive a Tesla. You get to drive on the right side. Was it right-hand drive?
Right-hand drive.
Right-hand drive on the right side of the road.
Yeah,
or
no,
left
thank
side
you.
of the road.
It was too stressful. The older I get, the more I'm like, I don't need that stress in my life.
You're not that old, sir. Come on, you could do it.
About 3 days into it, I'm like, maybe I could do it. And then you enter this roundabout, and it's kind of like, well, we talked about in the pre-show a lot, National Lampoon's European Vacation, where you just get stuck in a roundabout. And I will say, folks drive fast over there. It's fast. I think the national speed limit's 70.
Kilometers, though, right?
No, they do miles per hour.
Wait, what?
That's the other weird thing.
No.
That's the other. And I used to see it on Top Gear, and Clarkson would talk about miles per hour. I'm like, why is he saying miles? Because it's an American
But they'd still
audience?
talk about petrol and liters and all that.
Yeah.
So they just
Yeah.
picked one of our measurements and took that.
I think we took one of theirs, but yes. I think,
Wait, so they had miles
yeah,
first?
I think so.
Oh,
Somebody
that
could
makes
Google
sense.
that. I don't know.
That makes sense.
But yeah, road signs, things like that are in miles per hour, but then I don't know. It's weird.
Because I always used to think the U.S. was the only country stupid enough to not use kilometers and the kilo as a unit of measurement. But now you're telling me it was Britain too.
Yeah.
And you can always blame your parents, folks. That's what we're finding out. It's not really your fault. It's theirs.
It's inherited.
Yeah.
It's inherited. No, wonderful time. Highly recommend it. And the weather was perfect. As much as everyone's like,
Yeah,
it's
it rains a
rainy.
lot, right?
It's misty. I will say I was dewy. I had a lot of moisture. But it's nice because they don't have the bugs.
Yeah.
So like the windows and stuff, like in houses and things, like they don't have screens on them because they don't have bugs. I'm like,
Look at my FJ Cruiser and you leave. We went up to Starved Rock and back today. So many bugs.
it's that time of year.
Exactly. That sounds lovely. And if you want to see 2,700 pictures of his trip,
Yeah.
try to get him added on Facebook. Because honestly, no, it was good though. I went through most of them, but it was like 20 to 70 pictures a day.
Yeah.
I want to say it was a lot. It was
a lot.
good.
I wanted to share my experience with the
Yeah.
world.
Between you and Sarah, I felt like I was on the trip, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, I'm glad you had a great time. Glad you came back safe, and now you can get back working on all of the projects here, doing what's important in life.
That's exactly
buying
right.
junk and fixing it up. And you could also you could be frustrated with people, right, Daryl?
Yeah, I could. So
Should we do this? Should we grind?
We could grind a little bit. I'll just say, a word to the wise. Gabe, you ever walk into an auto parts store and you put all of your faith in the person behind the computer?
No, I can't,
You're smarter than that.
because I try to walk in and pretend like I don't need them.
Uh-huh.
And I like peruse, and then I just realize I don't even know what aisle to look in for most of the time for what I want. Like if I need like a detailing product and it's right there in the first aisle, good to go. A battery into the wall, great. Anything else in the middle shelving, I'm like a lost puppy who's looking for his bowl of food and he can't even find it. And it's like
over.
yeah.
Do you do the whole thing, though, where they're like, hey, guy, can I help you find something? You're like, no, I think I'm good.
I
you
do for the
that?
first 2 minutes, maybe 3, and then I cave.
And then you wave the
And
white
then I
flag.
have to wait in line. What's your approach? Do you have a better approach than that?
No, I don't. But the older I get, I think I need to start getting this approach, which is where you just get everything you need on the web, and then you add it to a cart. You get the part number. Let's say you're at Advance or you're at AutoZone or O'Reilly's. You just add everything you might need into the cart, and then you come up to the counter and you just give them part numbers. You don't give them the opportunity to search. You don't tell them what you're looking for, what application, what car, 2 doors, 4 doors, 4-wheel drive, V8, V6, whatever. You just give them part numbers. Because I found that when you relinquish the control and you just let them search things up for you, it always ends poorly.
Do they even do it?
No, a lot of times they don't. And in the pre-show, I ranted a little bit about this. But yeah, the last few times I've been to O'Reilly's in particular,
They suck.
they don't deliver.
Just lay it out there, Daryl.
That's one way to do it. They don't. The customer service has kind of gone out the window.
Yeah.
And I don't know. again, it just makes me sound like a grumpy old man. But I'd rather, I don't need to give you all the information. I'm just going to give you the part number that the website says that I need. And then I think I'll leave much happier.
Yeah.
And I might leave actually with parts as opposed to, no, we can't get that. I don't think we can order that. Or, yeah, we can order it, but it'll be 5 to 10 days. It's all of which is not true. I've never had any problems until recently putting in special orders for parts. But
Yeah. So let me ask this. You had a bad experience. You had an unwilling person or persons.
yeah.
Couldn't you have just done it all on the internet and through the app?
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have left with it that day.
You can't do store pickup?
No.
Like really cut that middleman out hard?
I could. I don't know.
It sounds like you don't want to talk to these people in the first place. They're not helping.
No, I do. I normally do, but like they don't want to talk to me.
Here,
That's the
you know what the
thing.
real problem is? Your O'Reilly's. My O'Reilly's here in Morton is legit.
It's pretty good.
Yep, you walk in, they're super friendly. I even just like took it apart once. They're like, "Oh, let me see something if I can find it to size it up." Dude's pulling stuff off the shelf to try to size stuff up for me.
The one on Detroit Avenue,
Yep,
whatever.
on Detroit over here in Morton. You
Okay.
know, they took my battery back before. Like, "Oh, I don't want to just test in your vehicle. You already got it out. Like, let me deep cycle it in the back and put a charge on it and see if it really holds and all." Like,
So the
Great.
answer is I need to just move to Morton.
Tazewell County
Yeah.
is better than Peoria.
Okay.
The end. So.
I know there's examples we live every day.
Yeah, and so and you're gonna get bad people anywhere too. I'm sure they could get some bad people at this one, but you know what? For my time, I'll just act superior and like I have it all figured out, and you're suffering for no reason.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, that's fine. That's fair enough.
Now, would you do any better at the other places though?
Probably not. Probably not.
I've dabbled.
I think it's about that time, and we'll post-produce this so it sounds like it's supposed to be time. But is it about that time?
It is about that time, Daryl.
He's been a little weird this week.
It's time for your moment of Musk. Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain implant company, said Thursday evening that it has regulatory approval to conduct the first clinical trial of its experimental device in humans. This is coming straight to you from the Washington Post. Approval by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration would mark a milestone for the company, which has been developing a device surgically inserted into the brain by a robot and capable of decoding brain activity and linking it to computers. Up until now, the company has conducted research only in animals. Elon Musk has come out on Twitter saying that he has this approval, and Neuralink didn't immediately respond to comment when reached out to by the Post. The FDA doesn't typically confirm approvals for human clinical trials, but offered a statement saying that it acknowledges and understands that Neuralink has announced its investigational device exemption for its implant was approved by the FDA and may now begin conducting human clinical trials for its device. That was your moment of Musk. So Elon has said that they have FDA approval, and the FDA has said they have also said that.
Sounds interesting. I remember when that whole sideshow started. It was one of those. I want to say that was being developed in conjunction with like SpaceX and some of his other stuff that was all under.
A lot happened at one time.
Yeah, and
The Umbrella Corporation, was that the corporation above all his corporations?
Exactly. I remember like, space, this, that, Starlink, a brain implant thing. Oh, wait a minute. Back up.
Yeah.
Where do you see that happening? Where do you see that evolving?
I saw it in a movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what movie I'm talking about?
Is it the one with Bradley Cooper?
No.
That's the pill that makes him smarter.
Yeah, that's Limitless with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, good call.
I'm talking about the brain implant.
No.
Come on, it's amazing. One of the best movies in the 90s.
In the 90s? Give me a hint. Who's in it?
Keanu Reeves.
Matrix?
Come
Hold
on,
on.
Daryl.
Johnny Mnemonic?
Yes!
Oh,
Johnny
yes.
Mnemonic. Amazing movie. It's got Ice Cube or Ice T. One of the two.
Yeah.
Ice
yeah.
T. So good. Henry Rollins is in
I
it.
forgot about Johnny
I
Mnemonic.
love Johnny Mnemonic. He gets a brain implant, and he can store data to smuggle it from country to country safely. And that's where this is going, right? People are going to do espionage. They're going to do all sorts of crazy stuff with it because they're going to have memory inserted in.
It's kind of like the Manchurian Candidate. Same thing. Where they implant and do some sort of robotic surgery and like wipe out your memories and turn you into a zombie.
Okay. I think I
Should be
started
great.
that movie, and I couldn't keep in it.
Yeah.
I got to be honest. It was kind of like a ghost dog for me.
Was it?
Rough.
Yeah.
Recently, I had watched that in the past, but
It's not bad. But yeah, so that's, I mean, slightly frightening, but also kind of the natural progression of things.
but also, how much does it pay for the trial? What could we swing this into? And
No deep brain implant yet, but I'm sure if that was offered, if Neuralink was
but
paying
how much?
out
How much would they have to pay you to try it?
to get a brain implant,
Yeah, a deep brain implant.
I'm thinking like $500,000.
Yeah, why was that the number in my head too? Do we have the brain implants already? We're already connected.
We're simpatico. We're synced up.
But
Bluetooth.
that's not even that much money. Like,
No, but if you got $500,000,
that could potentially cripple and or kill you. Go on.
I figure like $500,000 would at least get me comfortable enough.
That, you know what I thought? That's how much life insurance I have. So at least I'd be doubling that down for when I die and my
Fair
family
point.
gets my money.
I'm thinking I would just buy $500,000 worth of chili dogs and just like live out the rest of my years.
Nice.
With
No, you could get a lot of cheap cars for 5,000
Yeah, that's true.
and like 2 buildings to put them in.
Just get like 20 Suzuki Samurais.
You wish.
Just kidding. Speaking of cars and bad decisions, you've reached the point of the show where we tend to peruse the classified ads du jour, whether it's Facebook Marketplace, whether it's Craigslist, or whatever is in the local Facebook groups. Yeah, it might be fully restored and beautiful, but most of the time it's kind of not, and it's dusty, and it's questionable. This is what we call Cars of the Week. WEAK. And Gabe, let's go ahead and start with you, because you've been looking around and doing a little bit of Googling on some stuff that I never knew existed. And that might also be the result of a conversation you and I had at a barbecue this weekend.
I was going to say, you know, that's a bold-faced lie. I did not seek any of this out.
So what are you looking at?
First off, I've turned a corner, everybody. I've turned a corner in my life. I'm approaching 40. You know, I'm getting up there into my middle age. I own it. I'm okay with it. I'm happy.
You have back pain now?
Not yet. I have other issues, but not back pain. I'm working on it. I'm trying to improperly lift things and, you know.
Lift with your back, not with your knees. That's what they tell
you.
you.
In a twisting, jerking motion.
In a quick...
No, so I've hit the point in my life where I don't necessarily find stuff anymore. People are starting to bring stuff to me.
Isn't that a great feeling?
Yes and no.
Do you feel like a king on a throne and be like, yes, what do you have for me today?
Oh,
like,
no, this does not please me. Take it away. Next.
How about a 1978 Dodge Aspen wagon? No, please be gone with you.
But first, how much? $50? Yes.
Does it run?
Right.
Can it?
So
Anyways.
no, so the first instance of this was about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and I get a call. Hey, is this Gabe? Like, yeah, it's Gabe. Hey, I got your number from so-and-so, and I'm selling this BMW with the sidecar, and he said you might be interested in it. Out of nowhere. So people are just telling people that I'm interested in things and I'll buy things. So that was instance one. I did tell the guy I might buy it from him, but he never got back to me.
He never called back?
No, he didn't. I don't think he liked the price, which it wasn't even like I was like, hey, I'll pay you X. I said, hey, I did some research, and based on what things are going for and, you know, the customization you have, this would be probably right around this number.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, cool. You know, people think they got a fortune in their hands. They don't.
Right.
So then where are we again, Daryl?
So we're at a cookout at Jake and Amber Irish's house where a lot of deals somehow managed to get done.
Apparently, they try to make Gabe buy stuff at the cookout, either the internet or the people there.
So this started as a conversation amongst friends about the potential availability of some Vespa microcars, and I brought them to your attention, and you seem to nibble on that.
What?
Huh?
What?
Vespa microcar.
Who's heard of that?
I'd never heard of it until that day.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we talking about?
Daryl didn't bring it to my attention. Daryl ran over like a giddy schoolgirl and was like, talk to Gabe. And this guy sits down next to me and shows me this. They're cute. They're a cute little car. So, and you know what? I'm a sucker because here I am at the Cars of the Week. So I would probably like to buy one of these. They were made 58 to like 60 or 61. It's called a Piaggio Vespa 400, and it is a micro car.
So like the Vespa scooters, right? Same company, Italian company that made the little cute scooters you see in like Roman Holiday and all the old like 50s movies where they're running around on a turquoise or a red little scooter across Rome or something like that. They also made these little tiny microcars.
Apparently. And so, again, limited runs. There's a lot of them in Europe, but they imported them to the U.S. too for U.S. sales. So there's a few of them straggling around here. So this gentleman had almost a handful of them in various conditions. But I found one online that's similar that kind of struck my fancy because they had a nice red one, and this is a nice red one. So it's a 1960 Vespa 400 microcar for $13,100. It is in red. It has some white wall tires. They're a two-door. There is no trunk in these, but there is room behind the seats for luggage, allegedly.
Okay.
I believe they're rear engine, and they have a battery tray in the front grille somehow.
Is it like a two-stroke, like a little?
It is a two-stroke with an
Okay.
oil compartment and a little turn dial, which I've never heard of before.
Sounds dangerous, but
So
yeah.
it's just automatically in the vehicle. But what's really neat about it is that, first off, it's very small. And I like to buy small things now, like motorcycles and micro trucks and cars, because I can fit more of them in my garage,
Cram
Daryl.
more in.
So,
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I like that strategy.
yeah. And it's, I'm a smaller guy, so it's going to be fun to drive it around. So it's got a roll back, like, what is that, a vinyl?
Yeah, like
cover?
a cloth sunroof or vinyl sunroof.
So it's
yeah.
almost like a convertible, but instead of being convertible, it just unrolls like one of those overhead garage doors and just stores in the back.
It's got a great look to it, and it really looks like a lot of the Messerschmitts or some of the microcars from over in Europe, but also kind of like a Nash Metropolitan here in the
Yes,
States.
a Nash for sure.
One of those cute little cars that I think look great on like an album cover, but also would look great in real life because it's just so cartoonish. You're like, this is a real thing? Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's like, why does this exist, and why do you have it, and are there more of these? Yeah, and I'm drawn to things that are rare too, and this has become exceedingly rare because I love having a project that I just can't find parts for.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
my passion.
I like being frustrated every step of the way.
Right. Daryl just bought a $37 fuel pump for a car he just got, and I would probably have to have one custom made by a guy in Italy.
Like a machinist
Right.
who doesn't speak English.
No,
Yeah.
and doesn't accept U.S. currency.
Yeah, you'd have to like get an interpreter. I'll tell you what, these things are cute, and I fully support this. I think Mrs. Casey might actually like that. Does she like the lines of them?
She doesn't like anything. No. That's a joke. She does like a couple of the things I bought over the years, but for the most part, we just have a lot of things right now. And I was remiss earlier. We were talking about projects. I forgot I own an FJ40 still.
Okay, so I knew
So I'm
you.
up to 5.
I knew you for like years before I found out you had another FJ in storage that was like a full-fledged project.
Yeah, you hide your shame.
Yeah.
You just put it in a storage unit and you don't tell people about it and you forget about it. But part of the new garage is I have to get it out of there. So it's going to be in my garage.
And I think that's a great place for it because you have the chassis, you've got the tub, you've got all the pieces that I helped you pull out of your attic.
Yes.
You've got a motor.
Yes, Daryl was a huge help. So I had to clear out my entire third stall.
That's fine.
Stuff stuck all up above it, all throughout it. It was a nightmare. So
But it's what year is that? 78?
that's a 78, yeah.
78 FJ40 that is actually not that bad. That is buildable.
Yeah.
So you might actually have another little FJ Cruiser running around at some point.
At some point. But if I have the 5 projects and then I also pick up a Vespa, which may happen down the road, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, then you
We're
bump it up to 6.
Yeah,
that'd be a
Gotta
problem.
start knocking them down.
Yeah.
So, but
Well-
I like it. It is still. I actually looked. I didn't even just pick this and was like, oh, I just saw this is cool. I looked at some other cars. I was on Bring a Trailer.
Yeah.
I went through my saved cars on Facebook before the show, and I just kept thinking like, I'd kind of rather just have this stupid little thing from the 50s and 60s that nobody else has because it's fun. I like having stuff that nobody knows what it is. Strike up a conversation, get a smile. Like
Sure.
I enjoy
Sure.
that. So
Yeah,
that is my
definitely.
pick.
Conversation piece, and I fully support that Vespa microcar. Google those too. If anybody's not familiar with them, they are one of the cutest things you'll ever see on the planet. I took a more conservative approach with my pick a car of the week here. It is a car that I'm familiar with. I've got some pictures I took when it was sitting on a auction house lot in the corner of downtown Canton, Illinois, on the Spoon River Drive.
Oh no, it's the bitter car.
This is a seafoam green 1951 Oldsmobile 98 four-door sedan. And it hails originally from Canton, Illinois. It looks like a nice low-mileage original car. Original paint, original interior. It has the 303 Rocket V8 as opposed to the Rocket 88, which was an old blues song from back in the day. This is the 98, so it's a 98 has a longer wheelbase. It's a different chassis and a more upscale trim that was produced by Oldsmobile back in the day. But this thing is a really nice survivor, and I really liked it. I saw it on an auction website, and for whatever reason, the auction it was two old Plymouths, and that's really what caught my eye. It was like a Plymouth Concorde and a couple others. And this was in there, and I thought, well, I've never seen a 51 Olds 98 before. This is actually a nice-looking car. And it had the old AAA Chicago Motor Club sticker from like way back in the day on the back window, and like a Graham Hospital, which is a hospital in Canton, Illinois, had an old parking pass from like the late 50s still in the window.
Wow.
I love little stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? And great car, not a lot of rust, and would shine up pretty well with a little bit of work. Well, for whatever reason, they didn't relist it, and the auction house never replied to any of my emails, so thanks. Jerks. Anyways, this is now for sale for the low price of $15,250 at Country Classic Cars in beautiful Staunton, Illinois, off of exit 41, off of Interstate 55. Cool place. They've got hundreds of old cars on display, and this is actually probably one of the nicer ones that they'll have there. Unfortunately, $15K. It's a bit of a reach for me, but money's no object for Cars of the Week, so I would pay that much, Gabe, for a car that probably needs every bit of work as every other car in my stable does.
It'll fit right in.
The
herd will welcome it.
So I don't know. That would be my pick this week. Do I need it? No, but it's a nice, low-slung, original, unrestored survivor with a cool backstory. So I think I have to purchase it.
And it looks like it has like a full airplane on the hood with the hood ornament. What is that?
Yeah, it's like a kind of a rockety motif.
But it's got wings.
Yeah. It looks like a jetliner, but even worse. So
yeah,
really kind of neat. And the 98s, you don't see the back end's a little different. Like it's on a longer wheelbase, so it's got a nicer ride, like a Cadillac. And I just really, really like these cars. I think they're very understated. And if you look, the pictures in here are pretty crazy, but the steering wheel, it's one of the most unique steering wheels you'll ever see. It has this beautiful blue and gold kind of like planets motif in the middle, and then it has a clock embedded, like a little spinner, but it's a clock in the steering wheel itself. Not sure why they put it in the steering wheel. I know Chrysler did that for a while too. That was like a sign, almost like they took a nice wristwatch and blew it up and threw it in the steering wheel like, hey, this is cool.
It's absolutely crazy. But I love how it fits in with the dash too, because there's like a circular motion on the dash. Like nothing is square on the dash of this thing besides maybe the radio over to the right. I can't really see in the picture. All of the dials, all the gauges, like that's really neat.
Yeah, it looks like an old sci-fi movie or something. It's
cool. So what price would I have to get you on this for you to put this in your stable tomorrow?
Honestly,
because you're bitter about not getting the shot at the auction. That's why I called it the bitter car.
Yeah, if this was 15 is a bit steep.
Sure.
For the amount of
the
interior isn't as nice as
7. What would have gone for at the auction if you'd have bid? If
I would have bid, it would have been, and this is pre-Cadillac. Well, no, it was right after I bought the Cadillac. So, 775, something like that.
All right, I'll talk to him.
Yeah, we'll see. Make him an offer.
I like to watch Daryl and Sarah suffer.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down
to. Live
But
vicariously.
No,
through
that's a cool. That's a cool pick. Very unique car. I really do like the steering wheel. So check out the pictures. I'm sure he'll link it up there.
Yeah, I'll put it up there in post at throwingwrenches.com. In the meantime, of course, Gabe and I, you never know, we might actually bring another project home, or get one of the projects we have running and driving and actually start enjoying it this summer.
Wait, what's more likely? Does one of us buy something, or does something start running first?
Something will start running, I guarantee. Summer goals besides the garage. I mean, anything, you kind of got your sights set for anything in your current stable right now?
No, I just want to spend time in the pool. Not my pool. I don't have a pool. but a pool,
someone else's pool.
Yeah, the neighbor's pool, the city pool, any of that's good for me. spend some time with the kids, get the garage done, tinker a bit,
Sure.
sell some of the random garage sale and estate sale I've bought. So
Now that Memorial
you?
Day kicks off the summer, it's like you start looking, you're like, oh, I got something this weekend, next weekend, and like, oh, well, that puts us into July. Like, I need to just kind of pump the brakes and be like, you know what? I love doing things. I like having events to go to, but I might need a couple weekends just around the house.
It's like car show season too. Everything else.
Yeah, all that sort of thing. And I'll be honest with you, I know there were 3 or 4 shows last weekend, and I saw a bunch of cool old hot rods and classics running around, and I didn't really even get the itch.
Yeah.
I want to work on my stuff, get it running, so that I can do that maybe next year.
Maybe we need to take a break a little bit this year, and instead of going out, we'll just like help each other work on some stuff, and get some stuff fired out.
Honestly, dude, I think that's a really good plan, because you get to that point where you're like, I just need somebody to help motivate me to get over the finish line, right? And if we can kind of do that for each other, or if you have friends too. I mean, everybody's been in that predicament where you kind of I don't want to say burned out, but you just get to a point where you're like, this is fun, but like it'd be more fun if I had someone else here helping me.
It's hard to go out and bust your knuckles by yourself. And also, it just helps to get that second set of eyes and point of view on certain things. Because, like,
Right.
I don't have a broad knowledge of things. Like, I'll go out and I'll struggle and I'll make my way through a lot of stuff. But without my friends helping me through a lot of stuff in life, like, I wouldn't get any of this stuff done.
Yeah.
So, and you put on some music, you have a couple brews, you hang out. I'm actually, another side note, there is an older BMW motorcycle group that gets together up in the westerly Chicago suburbs almost every Friday night. And I kind of worked my way into an invite because my in-laws live up near there. And I'm hopefully going to the first one this next weekend on Friday night.
Awesome.
So we're going to go up and see the in-laws. And instead of hanging out on Friday night, I'm going to drop the family. I'm going to grab a sixer and I'm going to go hang out with some dudes that I think are all in their 60s or 70s working on old BMW motorcycles. And I think I'm going to have a ball.
I think you will too. And
Yeah.
it opens doors to where, like, if you need some tech resources or advice, or you just need to, shoot the breeze, those are folks that are into the same stuff you're into.
Yeah.
And that's fun. Generations are different, different cultures, different places you live, but you got that commonality of like, hey, I'm into this. Hey, I'm into that too. Let's talk about it. And that's cool. That is the one part about being into weird stuff, because there's someone else who's into it too.
Do you like weird stuff? My name is Daryl. No, we get what you mean.
Yeah. You like old Italian microcars? Yeah.
Take a look at this.
Trench coat. No, just kidding. Well, I think we're at the hour and a half mark. We want to thank you all for listening, and thank you, Gabe, for being willing to do a show.
Always a blast.
We want to say a quick shout out to Eric and the Stahl family and their entourage as they travel throughout the countryside here. Again, follow them along at Planet Stahl on Instagram or planetstahl.com. You can kind of see what's going on. We're definitely thinking of you all, and we know that Eric will be back in full swing at some point here. And we'll maybe the three of us, my wife Sarah keeps saying, the three of you need to do a show because you all balance each other out.
More outtakes.
And I don't know if we balance each other out or we just make it really interesting to bicker at each other.
We did one not that long ago.
We did.
A couple shows ago. And
Yeah.
it is a lot of fun. The problem becomes if you need to have a guest on the show, you can't have 3 people.
Yeah, that's true.
Because like 3 is the max. So like, if there's a guest, you got to cut it down for sure.
Too many voices.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, we appreciate you listening. Hit us up, info@thrownwrenches.com. Of course, you can share this program with others who might be interested. And we definitely want to say thank you again to our sponsors, Forts Toyota of Pekin, toyota-pekin.com, for their longevity and their just tremendous amount of support over the years. And also to our Patreon supporters who make this show possible as well. So until next time, I'm Daryl Scott.
And I'm Gabe Casey.
We'll see ya. And I didn't really outline this too much, so
Didn't outline what?
the whole show.
We know what
Fine.
we're doing.
We can wing it. It's fine.